Why are you choosing your safety net of your mask over me, over love, over what you could be? The false divine masculine and exposing that and understanding, up until this point, and forgive me for the divine masculine, divine feminine, labels. So I know specifically on the twin flame journey, there's labels of obviously divine masculine, divine feminine, and we're not going to get into those labels, but essentially what I want to speak about today is soul aligned divine masculine and soul aligned divine feminine. So when I use those terms, divine feminine, divine masculine, I'm not necessarily getting into the twin flame terminologies of that, because I think they can be flip-flopped, right? As in twin flames, you can be a female and be the divine masculine, but what I'm more so speaking on is somebody that presents more masculine. So if you are in a twin flame dynamic and maybe you're in a same-sex twin flame dynamic, you will have to decide which one of these labels suits you the most and which one of them maybe suits your twin flame the most. I'm not here to debate that. I'm only here to speak on, my personal truth and what's been coming up for me in the twin flame collective. So that being said, the false divine masculine. So this is something that's been coming up super strong in my reality in like many different ways. And I don't often, you guys, share topics that are, happening to me right now, but this is so in my face right now that it's hard not to share it. And I think that's probably why I'm meant to be sharing it, is because it's so in my face from every possible direction. And for a long time, the feminine, had been disappointed with the masculine, because the masculine has chosen its mask and its programs over and over and over again, rather than to do the work and rather than to, come to their essence and come to their true soul self. And that has been a deep wound for the feminine for a long time, you guys, a long time, not even just this lifetime. Many, many, many lifetimes, many different incarnations. And we've dealt with this feeling of betrayal, this feeling of I'm showing up and I'm doing the work, and where are you, right? Where are you? Why are you choosing your safety net of your mask over me, over love, over what you could be, right? And so as the feminine, we fall into this trap of falling in love with potential. And when in reality, the 3D reality is that the potential is not there. Right? They're not stepping up to the plate. And so exposing this false divine masculine. So I'm going to share with you how this has been coming up for me in my reality. And a lot of it has to do with YouTube and has to do with social media and has to do with influencers and people, in the celebrity fields. But so for me, 2 different times in the past week, there has been, I don't know if you guys follow the Blake Lively controversy around It Ends With Us, and I can't even remember his name now, and please put it in the comments below if you know who I'm talking about. But essentially the person she was working with and the producer on this movie, he has now come out to have done it like a smear campaign on Blake Lively, and that's why she was coming up not so hot in the media recently, and all these things were being exposed about her because that was his way of keeping things quiet about things he was doing. And now she's, suing him or has taken legal actions against him with sexual harassment. Then I saw another YouTuber do an exposition on Jay Shetty. I don't know if you guys have ever watched his stuff. He's also huge in the life coaching and spirituality niche. And so now there's things coming out about him and how he wasn't actually in the monkhood as long as he was in. And to be honest with you guys, I'm not one for speculation. So for me, whether these people are guilty of what they've done or not is not important to me. What's important to me is how it is showing up in my reality, and it's showing up in my reality consistently. Now, I'll also share with you is that I have connections with a few different men in my life, not my partner, but a few different men in my life that I have close connections to. And one of them recently sent me a message asking, for almost kind of like an intimate photo, or asking me for a photo of myself. And the thought process there was like, you've been friends with me for this whole time. to ask for this. And it was completely crossing the line because they know I have a husband. They know I'm, in a monogamous relationship with that person. And so to ask for this thing was, to me, completely crossing the line. And the first thing that comes out for me is this deep-seated anger. This deep-seated, like, you don't even care about me. You just want something for yourself, right? And so there's this feeling within this collective of what the masculine is going through right now, which is being exposed for who they really are. And these are people that put out to be very spiritual or be enlightened or be helping others, but yet in their close personal relationships, they are not upholding the things that they speak on, right? So there's a lot of like controversy, a lot of hypocrisy there, because especially I would say in the sexuality or in the space where men concern themselves with females, the way that they are showing up is not as the divine masculine. And so here's the thing, if you're on a twin flame journey, right, you have to become your own divine masculine to even recognize what that looks like in another, or else you get fooled time and time and time again. And this happened to me as well. I would place all this hope on my partner because I was so sure of their essence, who they were on a soul level. And time and time again, they disappointed me. The same thing happened in my relationship with my father, which you can say then stemmed all my other relationships. It stemmed what I attracted into my life. And I'm still playing it out on many levels. The only difference now is I actually have a divine masculine on my side, right? And so I had a dream the other night as well. And let me know in the comments below if this is coming up for you in a big way. Because I had a dream the other night and it was so emotional to me. It's one of our close relationships between me and my partner. And I had a dream that I was hugging this person. And I was hugging them in their true essence, their true soul. And we were connecting on a soul level. And in real life, I know that this person knows that I can see them and see their soul. But what they do is they constantly put up walls or make smart or mean comments towards me in order to play that off, right? In order to create that distance. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to acknowledge that that part of themselves exists and that anybody else could recognize that part of themselves. Because here's the sad thing, you guys. The false divine masculine sees their true essence as weak. They see it as a threat to them because that's what they've been taught. That's what they've been taught in society, is that you can't be this, you can't be that, you can't be this, you can't be that. You must look like this, you must do this, you must be this way. And so they've been disconnected and programmed to be something that is not their true essence. And so when I was having this dream of this person and I woke up afterwards and I was so deeply sad because I was like, I know that they will never be this in this lifetime. They've gone through too much trauma, too much disassociation, too much pain to be willing to connect on that heart-to-heart level again. And this is true for so many masculines. They're not ready to give up the blocks and the wounds and the programs and the limiting beliefs. They're not ready to give that up yet in order to be who they truly are, in order to attract who they truly long to be with. And so the thing is feminine that's deeply sad and deeply hurtful is that we see them, right? We see their essence, we see their potential, we see their soul. And when they don't acknowledge that we see that, it brings us a deep feeling of wanting to expose them, right? And that's what's happening all around us right now with cancel culture. It's this need to expose others for their downfalls or their faults or their inconsistencies or their hypocrisies or whatever it is that they're guilty of or that we think they're guilty of, right? And so I had this feeling twice in the last week with both sets, right? So I had this with the person that asked me for the photo. I wanted to expose him. I felt so angry for every other woman that he has maybe said something like that to. I felt so angry for every younger girl that fell into that trap with him, right? That felt flattered enough that he would ask and then fell into that and was used. And I felt so deeply sad to feel and know somebody on such a soul level, but they will never acknowledge it for themselves. And so what we feel as feminine is we feel gaslit into our reality not existing, right? Or feeling like that soul aspect of them, like we were making it up, right? When in reality, we're seeing something that they're not willing to see. So the desire to expose them is so strong because we as a feminine, and this is where the feminine has her downfall, rather than trusting herself and trusting what she knows to be true, she wants to make everybody else believe it. She wants to expose them. She wants to have control of the narrative so that she's not labeled crazy again. And this is where the feminine is in her false feminine, her false divine feminine, right? A true divine feminine knows in her heart what is true and what is not true. She doesn't need more people to believe what is true in order for it to be true. She knows the truth and she doesn't need to convince anybody else of it. She uses the truth to her advantage so that she can make aligned decisions in her life. And she thanks the masculine for exposing himself. She doesn't even need to expose him, right? That is a control mechanism, the need to expose somebody to say, I see you for who you are, whether it's good or bad, right? If it's anything about the masculine and we feel the need to expose them, to call them out, to show them their own dark or to show them their own light, that is a need of control. That is where the feminine is not in her true alignment, because the feminine does not need to show anybody anything. She knows that she is in her light, in her truth, and that everything else will play out as it needs to play out, right? So for me, I can love both of these people and how I treat them will be completely different, right? I thought this person that asked me for the picture was love and light and in his divine masculine, but I come to realize that that's not true. So I can love him and I can set my boundary, right? And that's me being in my highest alignment and saying, look, I'm not okay with that. That does not resonate with me. I don't appreciate you saying that to me, and I can put up my boundary, right? And then how he responds will tell you everything. And with the other circumstance where I experience the soul essence, but it's not that on the surface, right? So these two situations are almost like flip-flopped. They're almost like, yin and yang of each other. And this one, again, I can love this person without exposing them, right? I don't need to sit there and call him out and say, hey, look, I've seen you. I know who you are. I know your heart. I know your essence, but you're putting on a mask 24/7. Why are you doing that? There's no need for that. You can hold somebody in their light without calling out their dark. And you can be present with somebody's dark without extinguishing their light. This is where, as a society, we need to stop throwing the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. We need to realize that people are more than just this or just that, and we can hold them in both of those things. But how we react to them is what will change. How we respond to them is what will change, right? When we see somebody who's not acting in alignment with who they really are, we don't have to call it out. You can, that's a choice. But you can allow the masculine to stay in his programs, and then you just put up your boundary and you say, I'm not going there. I'm not going to follow you into that darkness. That darkness is not mine, right? And you can see all that the masculine is capable of. You can see their light and their potential. But if they're not acting in alignment with that on the surface, then you can say, I love that about you, right? I love that that's who you're supposed to be in this lifetime. And yes, there's sadness in both scenarios, right? Because we feel let down by the masculine, or we feel that they will never reach their potential, their true essence. And there is deep sadness in that because we want to love them there. But we have to love them. The true divine feminine will love them where they are at in this moment with no question of anything else. So this is what has been coming up for me in my reality lately. I've always found that when things come up for me in my reality, they always draw a parallel to what you guys are moving through and what you're working on. So let me know in the comments down below how this is coming up for you. Have you been feeling the need to expose somebody recently? Or have you been feeling sad about, someone not living up to their potential, or, feeling like you are seeing the best in somebody and they're not treating you that way. Let me know what's coming up for you in the comments down below. If you're looking for more support, you can check the links. We are now taking applications for our Twin Flame Group Coaching Round 2. This will be beginning in March. So if you are interested in joining us for Twin Flame Group Coaching in March 2025, please sign up down below and we will review your application. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you haven't already, be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the little notification bell so you are notified every time we come out with a new video. Thank you so much for being here today. Big love, Serena.